People laughed at her. Some called her crazy. Others called it the biggest mistake of her life. But none of them knew the real reason she married him. And none of them expected what happened next. Sophia Bennett was the daughter of one of the wealthiest businessmen in Chicago. Her life looked perfect from the outside. Luxury apartments, designer clothes, expensive dinners, cameras everywhere. But behind all the glamour, she was exhausted. Exhausted by fake people, fake smiles, fake love. Every man she dated loved her money, her family name, or the attention that came with being seen beside her. No one ever truly saw her. One night, after another argument with her father about marriage and status, Sophia stormed out of a charity gala and walked alone through the cold city streets. That's when she saw him. A man sitting quietly outside a closed bookstore. No sign asking for money. No desperate begging. Just silence. He was reading an old torn book under a streetlight. Sophia slowed down. Something about him felt different. Curious, she walked closer. "What are you reading?" she asked. The man looked up slowly. "The Alchemist," he replied calmly. Sophia blinked in surprise. Most people at her father's events couldn't even hold a meaningful conversation. Yet this homeless man was reading philosophy at midnight. "You like books?" she asked. He gave a small smile. "Books don't judge people by appearance." That sentence hit her harder than she expected. Backhand index pointing right. Pause for a second. Have you ever met someone who completely surprised you because of your first impression? Comment yes if you have. His name was Daniel. And over the next few weeks, Sophia kept returning to that same street corner. At first, she told herself it was curiosity. But deep down it was peace. Daniel spoke differently from everyone she knew. He talked about life, purpose, pain, and human nature in ways that made her question everything. For the first time in years, she felt heard. One evening, Sophia asked him something no one had ever asked before. "How did you end up here?" Daniel went quiet for a moment. Then he answered honestly. "I lost everything." Years earlier, he had owned a successful architecture company. He was engaged, happy, stable, until one business betrayal destroyed everything. His best friend stole money from the company, disappeared, and left Daniel with debts and lawsuits. His fiancée left shortly after. Within months, his entire life collapsed. "But honestly," he said softly, staring into the distance, "losing money wasn't the hardest part." Sophia frowned slightly. "What was?" "Discovering how quickly people stop loving you when you have nothing left." Silence filled the air. Because deep down, Sophia understood exactly what he meant. People loved her because of what she had. Daniel had learned people stopped loving him when he lost what he had. Both of them were trapped by the same thing. Status. Backhand index pointing right. Be honest. Do you think most people truly love others for who they are, or for what they have? Drop your answer in the comments. Over time their bond deepened. Sophia started bringing him food, not out of pity, but because she genuinely cared. Daniel never asked for anything. That was one of the things she admired most about him. Then one day, everything changed. Sophia attended another elite family dinner, where her father announced he had arranged a marriage meeting between her and the son of another billionaire. Sophia was furious. "I'm not a business deal," she snapped. Her father's face hardened. "Then marry whoever you want," he replied coldly. "But if you walk away from this family, you walk away from everything." The room went silent. And suddenly, Sophia made the craziest decision of her life. "Fine," she said. Then she stood up and added, "I'll marry someone who actually has a heart." The next morning, she went looking for Daniel. When she found him, she said something that left him speechless. "Marry me." Daniel stared at her in complete shock. "What? I'm serious." "Sophia," he laughed nervously. "You barely know me." "I know enough." "No," he said firmly. "You're emotional right now." But Sophia shook her head. "For the first time in my life, I'm thinking clearly." Daniel refused at first. Not because he didn't care about her, but because he did. "I have nothing," he admitted quietly. Sophia smiled sadly. "Maybe I'm tired of people who only have money." Weeks passed before Daniel finally agreed. And when the news broke, chaos exploded. The internet mocked her. Rich girl marries homeless man. Attention seeker. Midlife crisis. Even Sophia's closest friends abandoned her. But none of that hurt as much as her father's final words before she left home. "When this fails, don't come back." Backhand index pointing right. What would you do in Sophia's position? Would you risk everything for love? Comment yes or a no. So Sophia walked away from luxury. The mansion. The inheritance. The status. All for a man the world believed was worthless. At first life was hard. Very hard. They rented a tiny apartment with leaking pipes and barely enough space to move around. Sophia had never cooked before. Daniel taught her. Daniel struggled with shame and insecurity. Sophia reminded him daily that his value wasn't tied to money. Some nights they laughed until midnight. Other nights they cried from stress. But slowly, something beautiful happened. They became a team. Real love began growing in the middle of struggle. One rainy evening, the electricity in their apartment went out. Sophia sighed dramatically. Great. Perfect timing. Daniel lit a few candles. Then he looked at her and smiled. "You know something?" "What?" "I've never felt richer than I do right now." Sophia laughed softly, and realized she felt exactly the same. Months later, Daniel unexpectedly received a phone call. An old colleague had heard about his story and offered him a chance to help design a major city project. Daniel hesitated. After failing so publicly before, fear consumed him. What if I lose everything again? He admitted. Sophia took his hand gently. Then we rebuild again. That sentence changed him. Daniel accepted the opportunity. And this time, things were different. Not because he became successful again, but because he no longer believed success defined him. Years passed. Daniel rebuilt his career slowly and honestly. Sophia started a foundation helping homeless people find housing and work opportunities. Together, they transformed pain into purpose. Then one afternoon, Sophia received shocking news. Her father was in the hospital. After years without speaking, she visited him quietly. He looked older, weaker. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then her father finally asked the question he had avoided for years. Are you happy? Sophia smiled softly. Yes. Real tears filled his eyes. Because for the first time, he realized money had given his daughter everything except peace. And the man he once called worthless had given her exactly that. Before Sophia left, her father stopped her. I was wrong about him. Sophia nodded gently. I know. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touched your heart so far, comment true love still exists. I want to see how many people still believe in genuine love. Years later, Daniel and Sophia stood together outside a new housing center they had built for struggling families. Above the building entrance was a quote Daniel had written himself. People are not valuable because of what they own, but because of the love they give. As cameras flashed around them, Sophia looked at her husband and smiled. Not because he became successful again, but because even when he had nothing, he was still the richest man she had ever met. And maybe that's the truth most people learn too late. Real love doesn't appear when life is perfect. Real love appears when everything else disappears, and someone still chooses to stay. This is True Hearts Unfold, where true love lives. Like and subscribe for more true love stories.